Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Yvette Mihelig, and I'm from John Holland. I'm the Director of Customer Experience for John Holland Rail and Transport Division. And I've really been looking forward to today and sharing my insights and experience with you. I'd also like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land in which we meet, which is the Eora Nation, for where I am located here in Sydney. John Holland is up for the challenge of improving lives. While we're more known as builders of stuff, including hospitals, stadiums, prisons, bridges, and water treatment plants, we also design and build railways, and then we operate and maintain them. Today's discussion will be a combination of an overview of customer experience for John Holland at a global, Australian, and local level, with a deep dive into a case study for Torrens Connect Adelaide, which is one of our operations. Firstly, I'd like to provide you with a really quick high-level overview of John Holland Rail in particular. We transform communities to make them easier to move around, more connected and better to live in. Essentially, we're up for the challenge of improving lives. We're caring, empowering, imaginative and future-focused, and this translates into everything we do. We find solutions throughout any point of a project life cycle, from origination, financing and development to design and construction, operations and maintenance, and we do this across 14 industry sectors, including transport and rail. Currently, across our operations, we deliver over 280 million customer journeys per year. We employ over 5,000 people. We maintain over 5,000 kilometres of railway track. We operate and maintain 286 passenger rail vehicles or trains or trams, and we also impact the lives of over 20 million community members. Our session today is to share how the delivery of public transport services and the customer experience we provide is largely dependent on a holistic view of CX, from strategy and design through to customer journeys, multi-channel interactions with customers, KPIs and feedback. Regardless of what state life cycle a railway is at, from design and construction through to operations and maintenance, to achieve true financial sustainability, customer experience must be front and foremost. Public transport is a very special industry. Firstly, our clients own the end relationship with our customers, who are our community and visitors to the geographic location we're operating in. Secondly, due to the nature of public transport, we're often integrated with other operators or our direct competitors, and the suppliers of those modes are also in the community. This includes bus, rail, ferry, on-demand and point-to-point offerings such as Uber and taxis. Our clients, such as Transport for New South Wales and the Department of Transport, are the policyholders and owners of the assets, which we then operate and maintain. Many clients want to own all of our customer interaction in its entirety, including all digital and social channels, meaning our ability to surface and interact through our branding is minimal. It's all dependent on our contract with our client. One of the things that we're required to keep updated and collaborate with is our stakeholders, is our CX plan. This requires an annual review, which is then collaboratively agreed upon with our clients prior to the implementation on an annual basis. We've learnt that the key to success for us has also been defined through adopting an agile approach throughout our business, including rapid prototyping and testing and use of human-centered design in order to design and develop options for our business. Traditionally, customer perception of public transport is informed by the organisation's ability to run its services, regardless of mode, on time and without disruption. This view is changing, with customers having an increasing range of alternatives to undertake their journey. Additionally, public transport is seen as a kind of a grudge purchase, kind of like a necessary evil for many, and as such, being able to improve customer experience is critical for sustained patronage growth. On a global scale, up until 2020, the use of rail as a preferred mode of transport has grown above system. Interestingly though, Australia did not actually mirror this trend globally. Growth rates across the states have varied, and New South Wales has been the standout, having significant increases, and these have been widely attributed to their focus and investment of improvement of customer experience. Up until 2020, there's been a number of factors driving the global rail patronage growth, and these include things like the cost of car ownership increasing significantly, pushing people into the more affordable option. It also includes congestion. Roads are getting busier and customers are valuing their time more. And so they see that being stuck in traffic day in, day out is unproductive. There's also growing environmental and social consciousness, with PT often being the favoured cousin. Improvements in availability of rail networks has also occurred, and this has happened through increased infrastructure spending, meaning more customers have access to rail as a transport option. The events of last year have seen a significant shift in the use of rail and public transport generally as a preferred means of transport. Several factors specifically have led to this change, including having lockdowns that decimated patronage growth overnight. For example, metro trains in Melbourne was down to 6% of their patronage, so 94% overnight was gone. We also have governments that are encouraging private car usage, and that creates a modal shift away from public transport. There's also been increased flexible working and working from home, with a level of hours worked in the office unlikely to reach pre-COVID levels for quite some time. There's also been increased unemployment, so people don't need to get anywhere quickly or more efficiently. Social distancing has also become important, with requirements resulting in significant depleted capacity levels across all networks. We've also seen a bit of a fear of transmission across the community, and this is creating some fear, and customers are seeking alternative transport options which they consider which are safer. And there's also been a lack of social and other events, and this reduces unusual journeys for customers and ultimately patronage. So while the impact of the severity of the events has varied across the jurisdictions, each public transport operator is still feeling the effects by way of reduced patronage and increased costs to deliver services. And this has happened because there's been increased requirements around cleaning and the provision of additional personal protective equipment for employees, and also additional processes and policies that have now been put in place. Even with reduced patronage, many of the operators are maintaining and in some instances actually increasing timetabled services. And effectively, this means it's creating an ever-increasing yawning gap between farebox or revenue and the total cost to deliver services. I know I'm preaching to the converted, but when I get into a room with an executive team, I can almost feel them all thinking, but customer experience is all that light and fluffy stuff. It really does nothing but help us hit our customer satisfaction KPI. Trying to persuade a C-suite that CX requires prioritisation of investment and demonstrate the ROI can be very daunting, but it needs to happen if the overall business performance is to be increased and sustained. Traditionally, it has been difficult to monetize the value that CX adds to an operator or a jurisdiction or business. However, over the last few years, a lot of cross-industry research has resulted in the identification of a number of direct linkages between customer experience and revenue. And this occurs through increased patronage, reduced vandalism, and an increase in the delivery of value add versus non-value add investments. While some organisations have developed internal capabilities for customer experience, these are often reactive and as a result of contract requirements rather than having a proactive approach that can lead to sustainable improvements in not only that customer satisfaction KPI, but also patronage and a reduced cost to serve. There are a few things that need to be considered for every operation in order to optimise the value of CX. A big part of that is understanding what good customer experience looks like. When asking customers about their satisfaction with their last train journey, they don't just think of their time on the train. In fact, the journey starts when they simply consider their journey. Let's reflect on a typical journey where the customer is travelling home after work for the day. Where does their journey and their experience with your railway or your business begin? Upon finishing work, they commence their journey planning, which may include an app. This is followed by their journey planning. and their actual journey to the station itself, arriving there and engaging with wayfinding or signage, traversing the concourse, engaging with media such as information display screens, then waiting on the platform and boarding. All of this happens before they step 1 foot on any rail vehicle. While on board, 4 of the 5 senses are engaged. Everything from the ability to get a seat, through to the temperature on board, the audio service related announcements, and the onboard collateral or advertising, as well as some service information. All of this impacts the customer's experience. Things like, is the ride smooth? Are the onboard facilities such as seating, temperature, and flooring suitable? While on board, more often than not, they'll engage with their own personal mobile device. Arriving at their destination station, they will alight and then they'll traverse the concourse before navigating to the exit to arrive at the interchange. There again, they may engage with wayfinding, fixed or digital timetables, or information displays before boarding their bus. Once at their chosen bus stop, they alight and finish their journey by walking to their home. Operators are not necessarily responsible for the entire journey, and ultimately we do have to work with our clients and partners to not only design the experience, but also to deliver the experience. There are identified customer satisfaction drivers across public transport that are commonly across modes, demographic and geographic areas. The key difference is primarily the weighting key customer groups place on each of the drivers. The identified key drivers for satisfaction and advocacy across all modes is timeliness and reliability. In other words, I have confidence that you're going to get me where I want to go on time. When developing our strategy, we work with our partners and our client to gain a consistent view of our customers and their desired journeys, and together we identify and understand what good customer experience looks like. And understanding what a good customer experience is requires us to understand our customers. We know that our commuters normally make up between 63 and 76% of travellers across Australia and New Zealand rail networks. And this group of customers on average pay full fare and use our networks at least 8 times a week, well, up until COVID hit anyway. So this is a good segment of customers to focus on. But given they tend to travel during peak periods only, how do we attract those that travel outside those times? How do we get more members of the community and visitors to our cities to use our rail networks more often? Who are our customers? Right now, it's important to start thinking like a marketer. Who is our customer base? Who is our target market? By undertaking research and analytics, we can identify who we need to focus on and what makes them tick. Building customer personas, bottom left, allows you to categorize different customer types that may either use or consider to use your network. The key to developing personas is heavily relied on data analytics and insight development. For the purposes of simplifying the key data sets, they include demographic segmentation, which is, what are the unique features of the customer segment, such as job type, social and economic status. Then there's customer goals. So what is most important to these customers? Is it reliability? Is it comfort? Is it speed? Then we have geographic segmentation. So where are customers located across the network and how do they travel? And then we have the interaction frequency. So how often do customers use the rail network and at what times and what days? Once we've identified our personas, understanding how our customers interact with our operation provides us with further insight into where to focus attention and what to focus on so it derives the most value from investment. We develop customer journey maps which involve working through each part of the journey. These should include all elements of the customer journey, right from research and planning of a trip through to the arrival at their final destination. So not just at the station or stop and then on board the tram or the train. Each persona should have more than one customer journey. So for example, a commuter may have their regular morning peak trip, but you should also consider how to capture more of their share of their travel wallet and map out a visit on a weekend event, for example. By mapping out each of these journeys and understanding what the pain points are throughout these journeys, you can then map this back to your customer satisfaction drivers that influence the likelihood of customers to use your service. With clarity down to this detail, you're able to identify the prioritisation of where and what in the journey you need to invest in to make improvements that would provide the most impact to journeys. For example, we often trial bigger, better, faster technology when we really don't need to. It may not drive the customer satisfaction. Delivering and designing an expensive new trip planning functionality on an app for your customers may be a complete waste of time if they only use Google Maps or Waze on their mobile device to undertake trip planning. On the other hand, a small investment in training your train drivers to make clearer announcements during disruptions, which may be able to be done in-house, may drive significant improvements in satisfaction, particularly around information provision. Most importantly, never underestimate the impact of the behind-the-scenes functions on overall customer experience. International research has demonstrated that reliable, on-time trips that get customers to where they want to go promptly and safely is more important to most customers than the colour of the street furniture on a platform. Creating a culture that is focused on high-performance customer experience through the breadth and depth of your organisation is essential. The culture needs to be focused on connecting with your customers. Public transport businesses, and really all businesses, need to be centred around their customers. They need to satisfy the needs of different segments or personas. This includes creating connections with our customers to drive and sustain real change in the delivery of our services. With ever more parties involved along the public transport supply chain, and with more customers expecting continual access to information and services, connectivity is critical. The right connections enable companies to manage internal and external relationships and ensure that every employee, including suppliers and partners, is totally focused on the customer journey. Connectivity also means tapping into the right technologies to drive future strategy and to create a connected customer experience. Organisations that exemplify this approach exhibit these 4 key characteristics. Connective excellence or excellence means that customer strategy is well articulated, communicated, and implemented with a defined experience for each customer segment. In an engaged business or engagement, the entire culture supports customer centricity and the customer strategy. Employees are constantly thinking about how they can differentiate the experience for every customer interaction, and they're encouraged to come up with new and better ways to meet customer needs and are given a degree of freedom to put such ideas into action. Execution. In customer-centric business, the voice of the customer dictates the design and delivery of services. Services and research alone will not drive change. A wider Voice of the Customer program pulls together data from multiple internal and external sources to provide a single view of what individuals and businesses really want. Economics. The customer journey is at the heart of the customer experience economics. Each stage in the journey presents significant opportunities to reduce costs and improve revenue. A recent Forrester study suggests that across multiple sectors, brands that improve customer journeys enjoy revenue increases of 10 to 15%, while lowering their costs by 15 to 20%. By connecting your culture with the customer journey and aligning this connection throughout all actions and activities within your business, you're able to increase the momentum of change in the organisation. The delivery of valuable change is critical so that any investment will provide a positive return for your customers and your bottom line. Using tested methodology to affect change and to deliver any strategy or project that impacts the customer experience is crucial for success. Over the last 2 decades in particular, the use of Agile has spread from ICT delivery domain to be adopted as best practice across industry and sector. Many organisations claim to be agile, but when the wheels hit the rails or the road, it's not always the case. As I mentioned, Agile isn't new or just a fad. Simply put, Agile is a set of principles that allows leaders, teams, and entire organisations to anticipate and respond to change in an effective way. To classify yourself as an Agile organisation, you must exhibit 5 trademarks consistently, with each trademark having its own core principles. Strategy. This includes principles including a shared purpose and vision, being able to sense and seize opportunities, and being able to flex resource allocation to where it's needed most and when. Structure means having a clear, flat structure with accountable roles and hands-on governance to inspect what you expect, as well as robust communities of practice and active partnerships, and these deliver mutually beneficial outcomes. Process includes rapid iteration and experimentation, includes standardized ways of working, information transparency, a focus on action-oriented decision-making, and performance. The People trademark has the core principles of a cohesive community, shared and servant leadership, entrepreneurial drive, and role mobility. Finally, but not least, technology includes evolving technology architecture, systems and tools, as well as next generation technology development and delivery practices. These trademarks and these core principles provide a foundation of agility throughout your organisation. Leveraging these principles enables better and more sustainable outcomes that are focused on continuous improvement and the betterment of all KPIs. Being able to deliver services and drive improvements in customer experience and therefore the P&L also requires collaboration across different functions in the organisation. By approaching the provision of rail services in a holistic manner, meaning the whole customer journey and not just a small part of it, we can provide multifaceted benefits for customers, ourselves, and our clients. When considering making improvements on our network, it's easy to jump straight into solution mode in order to get a quick fix. Unfortunately, by racing to deliver an improvement, we may in fact reduce our customer satisfaction, leading to an even greater expense, both from a tangible perspective from the rework required of the solution, but also intangible from the damage it does to our reputation. Human-centered design is a creative approach to problem solving. It's a process that starts with the people you're designing for and ends with the new solutions that are tailor-made to suit their needs. Human-centered design is all about building a deep empathy with the people you're designing for, generating tons of ideas, building a bunch of prototypes, and then sharing what you've made with the people that you're designing it for, and eventually putting your innovative new solution out into the world. So what is human-centered design? Essentially, it's a 6-stage model across 3 phases. Understand means making sense of and learning about the problem, investigating what related work has been done before, and determining if the initial identified problem is really a problem. By using multiple data sets as input for this component, this will ascertain and validate the size of the problem. Empathize. Gaining deep understanding of customers' intended experience. This can be done in a number of ways, but it must be done with rigor. What matters to the customers we are looking to impact? This can be done by interviews or ethnographic research. Then we get to define. So we need to analyze the collected data and identify a customer's need to address the design solution. So what are our customer needs? Collect data from those multiple sources and do that from a diverse group. And that means to make sure that that's aligned with the key personas that we're intending to impact. So what are the satisfaction drivers for that part of the journey we're trying to influence? Is it the customer information screens? By completing customer research, and this includes ethnographic, data mining, surveying, we can define what the customer wants, not just what we think they want. Ideate. This is around diverging on a large quantity of possible ideas that could possibly evolve into solutions. Then we prototype some of those. So we develop some of those ideas into tangible objects. This could mean piloting the top 2 customer information display screens at a station for a 3-month period, for example. Then we test. So we evaluate the finished solutions, and we actually do that with the customers, and we collect information for an input for improvement. You'll notice that it's a cycle back, and that is on purpose. Human-centered design is a cyclical piece of work. It never ends, and you can continue to iterate and improve what the result and the outcomes are. There are some key principles that can help to ensure the maximum benefits of human-centered design. First one is focusing upon the people. Whatever you design, always thinking of people who use the network. These people are not abstract patronage numbers or Opal card tap-ons or Myki touches or Metro card touches either. These are real human beings and they interact with our network. So we need to keep in mind that our network is not just a tool that helps them reach their destination. It's vital to identify the real reason why people want to use our railway. The process of identification starts with a simple question. Who am I building this for? Unless you're building an improvement on the railway for yourself, you'll have to start thinking about who are your customers. Who will be using this product or service? In what context? What time, place, device, etc. will it most likely happen? This is where accurate personas and customer journey maps can really add value. Second is to find the right problem, because not all problems are worth solving. It's widely believed that there are two types of problems: fundamental problems and symptoms of the problem. I argue that it's essential to solve a fundamental problem first, because by doing that, you'll often solve the root cause of other problems. Of course, conducting research and identifying fundamental problems requires time, but no matter how much time it takes, the process of identification of core problems should be part of the design process. When railways skip this part, it often leads to a situation where we try to solve the wrong problems. Thus, I think of this activity as an investment. The better we conduct research, the more time and energy we save down the road. The third piece is around thinking of everything as a system. Don't focus solely on only one part of a customer journey while forgetting about the other parts of the journey. Improving local experience, such as customer information screens, doesn't mean that you'll have a good overall experience. Always think big picture. Imagine a network with a state-of-the-art customer information screens that display outdated or incorrect information. No matter how good that screen is, the overall customer satisfaction will be poor. Customers should have good user experience at all the touch points across the journey, from apps and real-time information through to interactions with customer service staff, as well as onboard comfort. Lastly, always test your design decisions. No matter how much time you spend on ideating and prototyping your design solution, you should always test your solution with real people, real customers. The feedback from the testing session will help you understand what part of your design requires improvements. You can't replace testing with real customers with testing with your team members or stakeholders, because such testing won't be representative. Teams often suffer from the false consensus effect, meaning people have a tendency to assume that others share their beliefs and will behave similarly in a given context. In other words, team members assume that customers who use your railway are created like them. So let me just say once again, you are not the customer. That's why only studying with your actual target audience and many customers will actually provide the most valuable insights. So as a conclusion, the great thing about the principles is that they apply as well even if you don't use the process of human-centered design. Use them more broadly. I'd like to take you across a human-centered design journey that we recently undertook in one of our operations, Torrens Connect. As part of a regular data analysis, we uncovered through customer feedback and research that the amount of vandalism on and across our network was causing great concern, and it was impacting the sense of safety that our customers were having, as well as damaging our reputation because it looked like we weren't really doing anything about it. We undertook that customer research, and that included some customer forums to understand the problem. And we asked that group of customers, what are the big barriers to their customer satisfaction, and how does vandalism impact that? We also looked at, what do others do? What is best practice? And this isn't, this is operationally not just other railways, but also other industries. We then held another customer forum, and we undertook also at the same time ethnographic research. And during our discussions with these customers, we identified that customers were wanting to feel part of the solution as well, and they really wanted to have that loop closed when they did provide feedback for us. So we took this feedback on board and we investigated other industries for best practice and what they were doing, and as well as key learnings. And then we held another customer forum and to further tease out some more information. And during that, one of the participants actually shared how they use SnapSend Solve to identify and share issues in their local neighbourhood with the council, and then the council was able to rapidly fix the issue and then close the loop with the customers to confirm it was the action was taken. It was quick, it was simple, done and dusted. So we investigated it and explored the potential, and we saw how it worked with other industries as well. And so what we decided to do was pilot it. So we trialled and tested SnapSend Solve, and it was used with resounding success. So I can now confirm that we've put this in place. First public transport organisation globally to use SnapSend Solve. And we've also identified the benefits of SnapSend Solve, which include a reduced time to identify and fix the issue. Our customers were on the spot, they're ready to identify it and send it through to us. Also reduced effort to remedy. So because we had the information, we had the photo, we knew what tools were required to go out and clean off the graffiti, where it was located, etc. We also had improved customer satisfaction engagement, and also reduced cost to implement. And this is because we decided, that whole build versus buy contemplation, and we decided in this instance to buy rather than build something bespoke. There are 4 key benefits of human-centered design for railways and for businesses broadly as well. So we're able to understand the people that are using, or the customers that are using our network. When we approach creating new projects with a human-centered design perspective, we're able to understand our customer in a much deeper way and in turn create a solution that makes their life better. So when we take the time to actually dive into understanding our customers, ask questions and get to know the people that will be using our solution or our network, we can create something that's far more beneficial than by starting with the end state first. You can discern the real problem. Many times we realise there's a problem within our organisation or with our current processes, but we can't quite put our finger on what the exact issue is. The same is true of customer issues. They can't necessarily pinpoint the problem, but they can communicate that the experience overall was less than optimal. And this is where understanding the difference between a problem and a symptom is really important. The human-centered design perspective can help identify this and help you understanding the two different things. By walking through a process like this, you'll be forced to ask a lot of hard but telling questions that'll bring the real problem you're trying to solve to the light. Ultimately, this will help you build the right tool to fix the problem that you're having. You can build with more confidence. So when you start the solution first, instead of people or customers, you run the risk of missing a lot of potential issues that will inevitably come up. Human-centered design perspective suggests that you should design and test before you build. This method will allow you to uncover many problems before they actually emerge in real life. So it encourages us to fail fast and then fix things in the initial stage, which is far easier and far cheaper to change. When it comes to implementation, things could get more expensive. This approach allows you to build with more confidence and based on the previous trial and error. You can actually improve the lives of your customers while improving your bottom line. Obviously, this is a great thing, right? Your network can be used to actually make the world a better place, or your business. For us, it's like giving someone extra time with their family by making their journey quicker, or making their day easier, or providing someone an opportunity to connect with places that are important to them. But it also benefits your business too. It can help you gain a competitive advantage and lead to increased sales, save time and money, increase loyalty for your business or brand, and strengthen your relationship with your customers because the products and tools that you're giving them are designed specifically for their unique needs. You also get to reduce errors, development costs, and increase accuracy within the custom application so you can avoid expensive rework. Looking forward for us, all of our CX strategies will include human-centered design, as it enables us to ensure that we're not designing or developing initiatives that don't meet the current and future needs of our customers on behalf of our clients and for the future of our business. That's it for me. I hope you found my presentation interesting and insightful. I'm happy to connect and talk all things public transport and customer experience, so please feel free to reach out. Thank you for watching.